Hello everybody and welcome to worship on the 21st of June. Our opening words are from Psalm 69 verses 16 to 18, which says, "Answer me, O Lord, for your steadfast love is good. According to your abundant mercy, turn to me. Do not hide your face from your servant, for I am in distress. Make haste to answer me. Draw near to me, redeem me, set me free because of my enemies." Not a very calm and peaceful call to worship, but more one that's calling out to God in some distress, in some way asking him to come close, to come and help, to come and be with us. You might like to look at a hymn this morning, or this evening even, and "Father, I place into your hands" would be a good one, or if you're feeling a bit more upbeat, try "Hear the Call of the Kingdom." And so let us pray, and this is a prayer by Julie Hume. O God, our deliverer, you are our rest amidst work, our stillness at the heart of struggle, our calm in the face of difficulty. Yours is the peace which comforts us when we grieve, the force of creativity replacing destruction, the hope that combats despair. Release us, O God of deliverance, into a new depth of your freedom, where we may learn that independence which trusts in you alone, and that resourcefulness which liberates the good in others. As we are bound together in love of you and in service of our community, may we encourage one another to claim our privileges as your children and free each other to praise. Amen. Our Bible reading is from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 10, verses 24 to 39, and I'm using the J.B. Phillips version. This is Jesus talking to his disciples. "But when they persecute you in one town, make your escape to the next. Believe me, you will not have covered the towns of Israel before the Son of Man arrives. The disciple is not superior to his teacher, any more than the servant is superior to his master. For what is good enough for the teacher is good enough for the disciple as well. And the servant will not fare better than his master. If people call the master of the household the prince of evil, what sort of names will they give to his servants? But never let them frighten you. For there is nothing covered up which is not going to be exposed, nor anything private which will not be made public. The things I tell you in the dark, you must say in the daylight, and the things you hear in your private ear, you must proclaim from the housetops. Never be afraid of those who can kill the body, but are powerless to kill the soul. Far better to stand in awe of the one who has the power to destroy body and soul in the fires of destruction. 2 sparrows sell for a farthing, don't they? Yet not a single sparrow falls to the ground without your Father's knowledge. The very hairs of your head are all numbered. Never be afraid then, you are far more valuable than sparrows. Every man who publicly acknowledges me, I shall acknowledge in the presence of my Father in heaven. But the man who disowns me before others, I shall disown before my Father in heaven. Never think I have come to bring peace upon the earth. No, I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his own father, a daughter against her own mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies will be those who live in his own house. Anyone who puts his love for father or mother above his love for me does not deserve to be mine. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. and neither is the man who refuses to take up his cross and follow my way. The man who has found his own life will lose it, but the man who has lost it for my sake will find it. Well, that's a very uncomfortable passage, isn't it? One of those we would rather the lectionary didn't include, perhaps. But we know that the Bible does incorporate it, so we'd better have a look and see if we can find something to help us along in these continuing difficult days. Do you realise we are 14 Sundays already in our exile from church? Perhaps to you and to me it really does seem like a persecution of sorts. Jesus in this reading from Matthew is indeed giving advice for facing persecution. It is part of a speech to the 12, the disciples who are being sent out on mission into the world to cast out unclean spirits, heal sickness, and proclaim the good news of the kingdom of heaven. Firstly, the chapter includes practical advice about luggage and accepting hospitality. Then it moves on to the passage we have now, a warning about persecution, about not being afraid, and an awareness that the message may not always be welcome, and that indeed it may cause big fallouts with our nearest and dearest. Oh, dearie me. This is really hard. It's setting itself against, it seems, our more well-loved passages of loving God and loving neighbour. We would far rather concentrate on them than something like this. This week our old farmhouse stable door has come to the point of desperation and needs urgent repair. The weatherboard has rotted to the point of falling off, so that we couldn't shut it without picking it up each time. So this morning we removed it for investigations and remedial works. The rotting weatherboard covered up further rot and woodworm inside, and that needed to be treated before new wood is put on to hopefully keep the weather out and become strong and secure once more. You might say that this Bible reading too is about rot, finding opposition to the message by uncovering it and bring it into the light so that it can be known for what it is. Quarrels with family members because dedication to Jesus might cause us to be torn two ways. Rot might also be sinfulness, which Jesus asks us to recognise so that it can be confessed and removed from our lives. And rot can cause difficulties in our relationships, which if we don't try to overcome them and be reconciled, can eat away at us for years and years. I don't believe that Jesus is telling us that we must argue with our relatives, but rather that if they try to get us to step away from him, then this will be the result. It's really not easy, is it? It wasn't for those disciples, I'm sure, setting out on mission. It certainly wasn't easy for Jesus, and it's not for us. We continue our exile from church, hoping and praying that God will reveal a way for us to be together once more safely. In the meantime, we go on, trusting that Jesus will be with us in mission, in the power of his Spirit. I bought a book this week by Charlie Mackesy called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse, about those four characters who go on a journey together, a bit in the style of Winnie the Pooh. Here's a quick excerpt. "We all need a reason to keep going," said the horse. "What's yours?" "You three," said the fox. "Getting home," said the boy. "Cake," said the mole. Sometimes it's really hard to keep going, and I'm sure that we've all felt that during this exile. For me, all those reasons have proved true. I've kept going because of you. Because I want to come back home to church. And occasionally, simply because of cake. God bless you. Please continue to pray for our friends and for our churches. And next week, the Reverend Geoffrey Clark, moderator of the East Midlands Synod of the URC, will bring our message. Bye.